Greg, what's with the hats?
I think you should mind your business, is what I think. No, I think I explained. No, but I think I explained before that it's for my own. It's for my own peace of mind. In that, like I said, I even made a post about this on social media on Zoom. Okay, and all these things. I feel like with I will have a beautiful, dome like Dave Aguilar has soon.
Oh,
But right now,
Right.
I'm in the patchy phase of it. And I'm like, you know what? I feel like over Zoom right now, I look like, Mr. Potato Head fucked Bert from Sesame Street. They had a kid, and that's me. So I'm like, I'll just, if I wear a hat, I won't have that self consciousness of looking like the love child between Mr. Potato Head and Bert. That's all.
Okay, so you're talking about your hair situation, not the face,
Correct.
because Mr. Potato Head also wears a hat. So
oh yeah.
we have
That's true.
a little bit of an issue there. So
right, and if he doesn't wear that hat, there's a hole in his head. Yeah.
Right. Well, you don't want that. You don't want to look like you have a hole in your head. So anyway, that was Greg. I guess we'll get his intro through here. This is Greg Vorob,
Hey, what's up?
who wears a
What's up,
hat
Greg?
to not look like Mr. Potato Head, and we have Dave Aguilar, Dave Aguilar, who does not need to wear a hat because he already has a beautiful dome.
Oh yeah. I'm proud of this thing.
You should be.
When
It's
I
a
was a
wonderful
child, I always looked in the mirror and I was like, you know what? I can't wait. I can't wait to be an adult so I can be bald. That was like a fucking life aspiration of mine.
But they
By
didn't
the
have-
way,
yeah.
John, what's with the microphone condom you're wearing?
Oh my!
You've been sharing the microphone with others, or what's going on?
I guess I'm just gonna have to answer this question for everyone who hasn't been on since I started putting the tape on the microphone. It makes the F and S sounds a lot less harsh when I play back. Yes, and I was like, you know what? Because you use the same one, but I don't know how you managed to do this. You keep it in much better shape than I keep mine. Mine just basically looks like a crooked penis, and yours still looks really good. So,
Yeah, well, that's for now. By the time the end of this session is finished recording, I can guarantee you I'll just be gnawing on mine in rage.
Because you're angry that it doesn't look like a crooked penis.
No, I'm just constantly filled with rage. That's just my default position. I just keep it together long enough so that I don't scare people away the first time I meet them. But after a while, it all comes down, and then I'm just screaming at something.
First time you meet, can I talk about John's 40th and when you and I met? I just want to say this real quick.
Wait. I want to give you a fair warning, Greg, before you get into that. You are going to trigger anger in Dave by talking about my 40th birthday party. Because
I'm already mad.
Wow.
I'm already mad.
He's already angry. No,
but maybe this'll smooth it over, and then you could tell me why he would be mad. I gotta say, you're so I met Dave in person at your 40th, and I was an honest sycophant to him because I love him. I love him, and we became Facebook buddies before we met.
Right.
But this is what it was. And Dave is here to prove that I embellish. I'm not embellishing in this case. So I come in. I'm sorry. We're there. Dave and I catch eyes. Dave arrived. Maybe I didn't see him come in or whatever. Maybe I was at the bar. We look at each other. Our eyes widen. And Dave, if I'm embellishing or remember it wrong, you tell me.
I don't think you are. I don't think you're embellishing.
And we said to each other, "You're that guy." And then he said to me, "You're that guy." Big hug. And then it's like, you're the MSV founder. I've been on that show. You've heard that. I've heard you. And I'm like, and we haven't been on yet. We're together. It's like,
it was emotional. It was emotional.
I mean, the thing is, you're both very loud, but I did not. I never heard. Blah, 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 but I heard the story. This is like the fifth time I'm hearing this story.
Oh, well, I remember I'm only telling this once. I remember.
Greg really likes telling this story.
and then, so like throughout the night, I think Dave, first of all, he witnessed my MVP Jenga game. But
yeah, that went big. That went big.
we did everything short, I think, of just start making out. We were just tickled pink to be there together. But Dave, I want to know. So what about that night infuriated you?
Let me tell you something. Our
Okay.
friend John.
All right.
I
okay,
have
sorry.
never seen a Jew do an Irish goodbye quite the way John did it. Because this motherfucker vanished. There was just this cloud of dust in his wake.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Well, he's got to, if you mention, Jew, he's got to kibitz with everyone he possibly can at the end of the night.
Right.
You know.
But I forgave it though. I forgave it because
nice.
I realized it was because there were people asking to, wanted to meet the cats that hadn't met him before. And he was now 40, so loud noises scare him.
Actually, to be fair, I wasn't turning 40 for like another 6 hours, but it was close enough. Really, the situation was that, from 6 to 10, we were having our regularly scheduled party, and they were, it was like regular bar noise, whatever you call that place. 10 o'clock hits, and then the music just becomes, first of all, it becomes awful. And it was raised by like 1,000 decibels. It was like absurd. I was like, I cannot listen to this. It is too awful. I gotta go. And yeah, I guess Dave wasn't aware of that.
I didn't know that you reacted to noise that much.
Yes.
Until later in the evening. By the way, speaking of noise. Okay. So as you guys know, I am a redneck. I know you can tell that by when you meet me. I was the first impression. You were like, this Cuban is an absolute redneck. No.
That is absolutely what I thought to myself. When I was drawing penises for you.
Yeah, that was a good time. Good times. Nobody ever's drawn penises for me quite the way you have, John. So this weekend, I grew up in an age in a family, a circle of friends that were all car guys, right? Mm-hmm. And used to go to the drag races down at Raceway Park in Englishtown and watch the dragsters and all that shit. Haven't done it in a while. So my younger nephew's like, hey, let's put together a family hootenanny with a bunch of friends and family. We're going to go down to Atco, New Jersey, which is deep in the Pine Barrens, which right there says everything, and watch the drag races. Have you ever gone and seen drag racing? And I don't mean RuPaul Drag Race. I mean like...
I haven't seen any kind of drag racing.
Okay. There is no sound. There is very few sounds that are louder than a 12,000 horsepower car that can accelerate to 300 miles an hour in a quarter of a mile. There is no sound like that in the world. There's nothing like it. What was absolutely amazing, though, is then they came out with the monster trucks, and then they had some dude, they dragged a ramp out there. They stacked up some beater cars. He jumps the ramp. They have fireballs going off, and the car hits into the middle of the cars. Another fireball goes off, and my nephew says to me, I have never felt like so much of a redneck as I do right now. And God damn it, it was so much fun. It was a good time.
That sounds like a great time.
It is.
That's a better story than the one that I had for today. I was all like excited to tell this story, and I almost feel like I've complained about this on my show previously, but I'm a 100% Jewish, unlike Lara, who's like a quarter Jew. I went to Starbucks, and that Starbucks. I'm sorry.
A quarter Jew. Go ahead.
Yeah. Is it Starbucks or is it Starbucks?
Starbucks. I don't know.
Starbucks.
I'm trying to, I go to Starbucks. Okay. So anyway, I went to Starbucks, and you know how their coffee is a little bit pricier than other coffees, because I ordered a shot of vanilla in my coffee because I'm only slightly snobby. I'm not completely snobby.
Yeah, that's an extra $1.50 right there.
It was absurd. But anyway, so I'm like, let me have a small hot coffee with skim milk and 1 shot of vanilla. Cool. $3.50. Okay, a little overpriced, but you're paying for the brand. You're paying for the hoity-toityness of ordering vanilla in your coffee. So I take a sip of it, and that shit is fucking lukewarm. I'm like, what? Okay, look, man, you want to charge me $3.50 for a cup of coffee? Cool, fine. That's what you do. Make your coffee hot. What are you doing to me, man? Well,
this is what upsets you. This,
yeah, but it's funny because nobody has as many horror picking up coffee stories than John.
Oh,
This
is that right?
Fascinating to me.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Apparently, that's true. I don't know. I mean, yes. Well, Dave, I did say that my story was not as good as yours.
I don't even know that mine was that good. I was just happy about it. That's all. That's all. You know. But wait, Greg, you said he has other horror stories picking up coffee?
Yeah. Oh, but, for years it's always I was at the Starbucks or I was at the Dunkin' Donuts today, and I ordered a white mocha, and I got a chai tea.
Already, right there. I have never said until a second from now. I've never said the words white mocha next to each other. So, no. I don't order a white mocha.
You want to talk about technicalities of the kind of coffee you order? I
order a coffee flavored coffee. In the words of Dennis Leary, coffee flavored fucking coffee. That's what I get. Maybe a little bit of flavoring in it, but I don't get that white mocha foam bullshit where they pay extra to have it be like 75% foam and 20% water. I don't what the fuck are you drinking?
You're very passionate about this.
Yes. By the way, white mocha, that's Greg's rap name.
White mocha in the house.
Mocha in the hizzle.
In the hizzle. Yeah. Hizzle.
I used to like, I've been, I'm now a regular cinnamon user in my coffee. I'd call that whatever you will. Do whatever you want with that information.
I mean, I'm not against it.
Are you back? Are you back to drinking coffee?
Yes, I'm finding right now. That this is a backstory for people that don't know. Coffee wasn't agreeing with me for a while. Now we just all of a sudden became the 85-year-old men podcast. But yeah, so it wasn't agreeing with me. The coffee just wasn't agreeing with me, but I put cinnamon in it, and now it's fine. But no, I missed coffee. I had said to John, because any Starbucks meeting or Dunkin' meeting that we had to have in the past 2 years, it wasn't a normal thing, but we had to, if we had podcasts to plan that we had to actually talk about it.
Maybe twice a year we would meet at Starbucks and talk about
and I'm like, God, I wish I could get a coffee. I have to get, whatever, an iced tea, fancy iced tea, whatever. But yeah, and then the coffee's just disagreeing with me. But now, I guess I go through stages, whatever the condition is or whatever, that coffee was. And now I'm okay with coffee.
Do you get the jitters, or do you just shit your pants?
I get again. I'm thinking okay, now I think we're over talking about the coffee. The reflux thing. So
it's the other end.
Yeah, it's the honest to God's truth. Yeah,
it's the other end. I got you.
Yeah.
Speaking of shitting your pants.
You always got to know what Dave has to say after that. Okay. Speaking of shitting your pants, yeah.
So I was contacted, as you may know. I probably discussed it. I kind of am a big proponent of bidets, right? Mm-hmm. So apparently I have been so vocal about bidets that the bidet company Lux, that makes my bidet, which is the Lux Neo 180 that I highly recommend, they reached out to me, and to say thank you, they're giving me a free bidet.
Wow.
Is that great?
Every time I gotta say, every time John has said, Dave Aguilar is the most popular guest on my show, and now that just fucking epitomizes, across the four, I call the four podcasts that exist, the podcast of the family, and even if it's an extended family, and every one of them has done amazing things, like just today, because we used the fucking Five Finger Death Punch song on MSV podcast, the episode was taken down. Yeah, it was excellent. We've had different things going, oh wow. But never, I'm like, I got you, Dave Aguilar, the most popular guest, whatever. Now you're getting free bidets out of your appearances on this show.
I'm very excited. And by the way, I was gonna put it in a box and send it to John as a gift.
That's a good idea.
But he and Lara already explained to me that they don't need a bidet, because as soon as they take the morning shit, they hop in the shower.
No. That's what Lara does. I actually, unfortunately, my schedule does not have me do my business in the morning most of the time. So yeah, I don't have that luxury. I will take your bidet off your hands if you're trying to get rid of it.
You know what? You're gonna be the recipient of my donated bidet.
All right, I'll send you my address.
I
Right
feel
after
like
the
you
show.
deserve it because you've been helping me get the gospel of the bidet out to the masses. You're like my Saul of Tarsus,
I mean,
St. Paul.
Dave,
We're going to have an epistle of bidets.
If the reason that your bidet word has been spread as much as it has is because you talk about it so much on my show, then that says a lot of good things about my show just on its own. Now,
you need it. You deserve it.
I'm assuming that you talk about it in other places. You know.
Oh yeah, funerals, church.
Right.
You just ruined the illusion
Gender
of me
reveals.
building up this show.
Wait. Was I supposed to let you believe that you built up my show, Greg? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Greg likes to do things for my show. He anyone who's on the show gets put on IMDb, and he always sends me the IMDb link as like a 4-year-old who just put stickers on a piece of paper and said, "Look what I did." It's sort of like that, except it's actual something that people want to see.
Oh yeah, no,
right,
podcasts go on IMDb now, and that's if Jeff Bezos did anything good, we don't need to talk about the whole process how it happened, but yeah, that was all Bezos. That was all Bezos. Yeah.
Bezos.
Well, I want to thank you for making sure I had my IMDb entry. I owe that to you, Greg, and I appreciate it.
You know, you're very welcome, but people keep saying that to me, and you're welcome, but just making appearance on this show is what is getting you. IMDb. Okay, so people, they all know what IMDb is. It's now not just movies and TV. It's all media that the public has access to goes up on IMDb in short, and it was and you submit your podcast. It has to be approved, but you do it with the link, and then this links your podcast on your IMDb page, and it's getting more listens to the podcast. And it was Bezos with it. It's all because he bought Amazon. He made Amazon podcasts, and so now podcasts. But I think it's great that any media that could be accessed by the public. So I've been getting thank you for putting me up on IMDb, and you're welcome. And of course, I guess what I do with the extra mile is getting the name spelled right. But just for you guys appearing on the show, you got yourself on IMDb.
Right.
Yes, I'm the guy.
You're
who
so
puts it
humble.
up.
You're so humble. You're so humble.
Maybe I am, but not in this case. In this case, I'm just saying the truth.
Well,
Don't thank me. Yeah.
Humility. You could, Greg. You could be like, "Yeah, I'm so great because I do it for you, and now you're on IMDb because of me." But
I refuse.
That's what I would have done. That's what I would have said.
Yeah, I think
But I'm petty. I'm very petty.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, look, I could maybe. I cannot say anything. Okay, John, I cannot say anything because you just reminded me. I'll just put it this way. Someone I just worked with on a project, you reminded me of someone he or she, the person, humility waves bye-bye to them. Okay.
Yeah.
But that being said, if you want me to brag that I've had movies and festivals and used to be a working actor, great. Great. But in this case, I'm being completely. I just don't. If you say I'm being humble, I appreciate it. In this case, it's not humility.
So a slightly off-topic thing.
Yeah.
In response to Dave putting on his what is that? The Golden Gate Bridge.
Golden Gate Bridge background.
Putting on the Golden Gate Bridge background, I'm actually very amused by it because you got the Golden Gate Bridge in the background, but between the things that go over your head for your headphones,
oh yeah,
you still have your bedroom in the background. So that's I'm amused by that. I like that.
Listen, it's the little things.
Hey,
is that better?
That's
is that better?
Yes,
now I'm a panda bear. And let me tell you
now, John, that may have influenced you to finally put the Zoom on the YouTube, so that should you want to do that because
I keep,
you have the option to do that.
Yeah, I keep talking about putting it up on YouTube. I've been very lazy about editing the videos because I don't think that I want to just put the entire thing up. I want to put up, like highlights of the videos, so.
I
But
can guarantee you this: you start putting up the videos, I will never wear pants again to one of these recording sessions. That is a guarantee.
Dave,
Nipples out, everything.
You might not be wearing pants right now. I don't know. You're
Don't
a panda bear.
Don't ask questions you don't want to know. But I love this. And this is so in keeping with, because I've said it for a long time.
Yeah.
When I die and I'm reincarnated, I absolutely want to come back as a panda bear. That is
all right.
That is my thing, because all they do is they just sit around, they fall out of a tree, but they don't get hurt because they just bounce and then they roll down a hill and they play with their toes. That,
you know what? I mean,
is the definition of good living.
And they have fingerprints like humans do.
Yep.
I'm wrecked for the whole rest of this recording with this, and I wish the audience could see it right now, or the listeners. I'm wrecked. I'm done. I'm going to be.
And by the way, and you know the other great thing about panda bears?
No.
It's one of the few life forms, and when I was younger, I wish I had been like this. They don't really want to have sex. So it's not like they ever get distracted by trying to get laid and thinking about, like the other day, I was at a bar. I was at a bar recently, and I've been drinking, of course, far too much. An amount that would immediately trigger vomiting in John, like a just Pavlovian response. And I'm in the bathroom, and I'm in the urinal, and I'm holding my dick and balls, and I'm looking down, trying to take a leak. And I look down, and it hits me, and I'm like, what is this? What is this thing? And I'm looking down at my junk, and I'm like, what is it? Who came up with this? Who came up with this? In my entire life, it has done two things good for me. I got two good kids out of it. Other than that, it's never done anything helpful. All it does is get me into trouble.
Yeah.
Right? Every man knows this. You make all your bad decisions. It mostly comes from this.
Well, you remind me of that King Missile song, Detachable Penis.
Yes.
Oh, detachable penis.
I can rent it out when I don't need it. And, it stops me from getting in trouble if I leave it at home.
Yeah. If I could do that, my life would be so different. I'd be a millionaire. I'd have a doctorate.
Right.
Here's great.
Here's what we got to do. We're going to smile, and I'm going to take a screenshot. I'm going to get this, and I'll take a picture, and I will use this as the promo shot for this episode.
That's
here.
Can I just say one thing about my penis?
Oh, all right.
Oh yeah. Far be it from me to stop a man talking about his dick.
Oh, this is all I'll say. I'm proud of it because it tries.
Nice. Nice. All right. Just
you did your best.
Just take. Let's talk about the project. Okay, let's take 2 seconds. Just give me a bright smile like this. All right, cool. Now I will take that. You're good, Greg. You're fine. I will take that.
He just wants to keep smiling.
And I will.
Oh, I'm done. I'm wrecked for the rest of the episode. Yeah.
That's fine though. I will take a picture of this. I'll go back. I'll take a picture of this or a screenshot or whatever, and I will use that as the picture in the background, because ever since I learned how to change pictures for my quote unquote sister show, about the comic books.
Oh.
Yes, and
it's not really a sister show. It's a series within this show, isn't it?
Yeah, well, as much as Fake and Whimsy is the sister show of MSV, the comic book show, it's sort of the same idea.
Is there a new platform for the comic book show?
No,
Oh, okay.
I don't.
I need to be informed about that for the thing.
There's no new platform for the comic book show. What it is just sort of like I just changed the picture. But it will still be Bullshit Hour with John Seymour talks about comic books. And
right, this is what I was informed of. Yes.
Right.
Okay.
And you will know that it's one of those episodes because instead of me holding the Pee Wee Herman mug, I'm holding the Action Comics #1 in front of my face.
Absolutely fair. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because if information was omitted from me, I'm not cool with that. I lose my shit.
He does. It's true. It's true.
Is it just FOMO that you have?
No, it's well, okay, I don't want to answer for you, Greg. Please.
Is it just FOMO?
Fear of missing out?
FOMO.
Oh. No. Because that's when I I run your IMDb page and I need to know about this. So
Yeah.
that's all that is. So
It's
that was
true.
a full circle. That was a full circle comment on how I'm humble about it, but go ape shit on John. And the audience can decide whether or not I'm embellishing even on that or not, or being serious about that. But
Right.
here, for the purpose of this conversation, I am. You say I'm humble, and I am humble. But if you omit information for me about that, I will lose my shit. Just as I am now. You see how passionate I'm getting? Don't you fuck with me on the IMDb page.
Right.
You're very intense about your humbleness.
There you go. There you go.
So basically, I mean, and I learned this very early on. I believe, Dave, it was the episode that you did with Keith, which was like the second episode that I did.
Yeah.
And we recorded that episode, and I put it up, I aired it, and Greg messages me. He goes, "What the fuck? Why didn't you tell me that you did this episode?" And I was like,
Oh yes.
and I was like, I didn't realize that I needed to run that by you. And he's like, he's like, well, I do the IMDb page. Greg is being loud and angry, as an act right now, but he actually did say this. He was like, "Why didn't you tell me I do the IMDb page?" And I was like, all right, yeah.
This just ruined the illusion that I'm humble about it at all. All right, fuck me. All right.
Hey, listen, everybody has their one thing, and for you, you draw the line at the IMDb page.
Yeah, that's what I draw the line on.
Yeah, everybody's got their line. Everybody's got their line.
Absolutely, 100%.
John, what's your line? What's the thing that fucking makes you snap?
What
me? Me.
What?
It's me. It's me.
Greg. Yeah, it's absolutely Greg. No, what makes me snap? I mean, I don't know. Maybe books that are too long. If a book is too long, I snap. I have no patience for that.
A long book?
No, I don't know. I can't think of anything. No, I know what it is. And to say that I snap about it isn't really entirely true, but I know what it is. When there's a lot of dishes in the sink, and I do the dishes, and then 5 minutes later the sink is full again, I have no patience for that.
Yeah, I could get that. That's very frustrating.
Right.
It's very frustrating. But that's that's why they said in the old days, back in the day when women ran the house, and they had the expression, "A woman's work is never done," right?
Mm-hmm.
So housework never finishes. It's an endless fucking nightmare of just cleaning up after our filthy, disgusting selves.
It's true. And and I have to say, I'm thankful that it's the sink that gets filled up, 5 minutes after I clean it, rather than like the toilet or like the bucket next to the toilet. That's
that's back in the olden days when they had to clean out the latrine. So I always used to tell my kids when they were younger, I would always tell them, "Hey, you know how like you hear people say, oh, back in the good old days, there were no good old days.
Yeah.
Right.
The good old days were terrible. Everybody smelled bad. You died at 30. That was the normal life back in the good old days. I don't know.
You mentioned that when we did the episode when I was in Florida. You talked about that.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, it was pretty awful. You said something about like shit soup as candy. That was the candy there was like lavender or like
lavender candies and clove flavored chewing gum.
Yeah,
that was like a luxury. By the way, you and I know that sometimes you just want to sit down with a pound of Oreo cookies, and just eat the pack. You just want to eat it. Back in the old days, Mom spent 7 hours making a dozen cookies. You got one.
Yeah,
you got one. Who the fuck wants to live in that world?
Well, okay, but to be fair, when you are finished eating that bag of cookies, you regret it. You feel like shit.
Yes, that's true.
So that's it's.
But you say that like that's a bad thing. I would not know who I was as a human if it wasn't for my regrets and feelings of constant shame.
Dave, this is why I have you on the show, because you're so poetic about how horrible everything is.
Everything sucks.
He's not wrong. That's the thing. You're not wrong, Dave.
Everything is terrible.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing about Buddhism. Everybody thinks Buddhism is all nice, like monks and saffron and blah, 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 right? And would you shave your head and you meditate?
Dude.
The basic
Yeah.
foundation of Buddhism is like, oh, everything's terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's terrible and you can't escape it.
Oh,
This is being revealed for the first time in public on anything I've ever done. Well, it's not a secret, but you just said Buddhism. In 2004, I had a bout, if you will, and I was for about, I don't know, a month. I don't know. I was a Nichiren Buddhist.
Nice.
And a friend had introduced me for that. I fell into my first depression ever. It was my first depression, and he introduced me to Nichiren Buddhism, and it was a very interesting time in my life. But while I'm not, and while I didn't stay in it, here the audience can't see this again, but there is my altar. Can you make that out? There it is.
Yeah.
I still have that. And it's a conversation piece now. That is my Gohonzon.
Okay.
I still keep it. Because when I left the religion, as you said, because for all intents and purposes, it is an organized religion. Yeah. I said to the guy, because he gifted me the Gohonzon. I said, do you want it back? He goes, that's a gift. You keep it. You keep it for prosperity. You keep it. And, hey, they weren't a cult. Because when I said, this isn't for me for different reasons, I mean, maybe we'll do a whole episode on it. I don't care. I don't care to. If anybody wants to talk to me about Nichiren Buddhism and my bout with it, I will, but whatever. But don't need to for the purposes of this conversation. But they didn't ask me to stay, or they didn't try to do some kind of a ritual where they're like, you will stay. None of that.
No.
It wasn't for me. And but hey, the experience, I'll never trade it for my life. It was a very interesting. Yeah. It was a very interesting summer,
to say the least, right? Yeah.
And oh, by the way, one of the other, they're non-proselytizing religion. They're just like, hey, man, we know life is tough. Here's one way you can. Maybe we think that some people can be happy. The other nice thing about Buddhism, circumcision is not on the table. It's not a concern.
I went there too late, but just to throw out there, Nichiren Buddhism is a little different than there's all different kinds of Buddhism. Yeah. Nichiren Buddhism, you guys could look it up, whatever. I know nobody will, but it doesn't matter. So I had that experience. It was interesting. It was interesting. And the reason I left wasn't because it was cultish, if you will, or
you just wanted to get circumcised. That was it.
I wanted to get uncircumcised.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's my Buddhism story. But yeah, I will have the altar for the rest of my life, and it'll act as the conversation piece.
Did you feel like that time, like the Buddhism was something that was? It sounds like, I mean, I laugh at most things. I don't laugh at people going through a hard time.
Right.
So did you find that the Buddhism time in your life was a part of helping you through that? Did it contribute?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Yes, it did, because it was this and there was advantages and disadvantages, but I guess at the time I needed it.
Yeah.
It's a community. It was a community, and
right.
It was picnics, and you go out to dinner at least once a week with your I was what they call the mentor. They call it Padawan in Star Wars. It was a shakabuku. I was a shakabuku. So my mentors and stuff, and they were so nice. But here, this is a perfect way. One of the reasons I got out of it, I was tired of that. They come over to your house, they chant with you. That is considered an honor. Orlando Bloom, the celebrity at the top of my head. He's in this.
Really?
He's an SGI. Yeah, he's the Nichiren Buddhist. So I don't know if that means Katy Perry is too. Probably, but so he was one of the people that practiced this religion. But I was like, I like to sleep. But
that's a good one. Yeah, that's
one of the things of the practices is that I'm going to say his name. He's never going to listen to the show. My cell phone would ring. Hi, Greg, it's Takanubu calling. Let's go to breakfast. I'm sleeping, Takanubu. This is a true story. I'm sleeping. No, you got to win in the morning at 7 o'clock. We start your day. But the motherfucker was right, because I would go, and then I would go to breakfast, and then I start my day, and then I'd go about my day after that, and I'm like, wow, I got a lot accomplished. I'm feeling very positive.
Yeah.
But again, structure must be what I needed at that time or something.
Yeah.
And, and yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
no, it's funny. I think about that. I'm not a morning person by any measure. It has a lot to
yeah,
do with the relentless pace of my drinking. And so I always struggle to get up. And to be honest, I wake up, I feel like anytime I wake up every single day, whether I was drinking or not, I feel like I wake up somewhat hungover. I don't wake up
yeah, that,
well. And that's been
yeah,
lifelong. That was even as a
Oh
kid.
yeah. Oh
yeah,
yeah. No.
yeah,
At
yeah.
this point, it starts happening. I've definitely noticed. I wake up and I'm like, oh, I don't have a headache, or oh, I can get up without grunting. Cool.
Yeah.
It's like the exception to the rule. And
Greg, how old are you?
How old am I?
Yeah,
44.
44. So afterwards you turn 40.
Yeah,
John's
yeah,
41.
yeah,
I'm 40.
yeah.
Greg's 44, and Dave is what, like 92?
147.
147. Okay, yeah. I just
He's
wanted to
the
make sure.
world's oldest living man. Yep.
Yeah, if I
Right.
was 51, I'd look like shit, but at 147, I look like a fucking panda bear.
And and what does that mean exactly? That means that Dave is actually 51 years old and looks like a panda bear.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Cool. And on that note, I want the listeners to call in. I want the listeners to email bshour6, the number 6 at gmail.com. That's bshour6 at gmail.com. Let me know who was louder, Greg or Dave, because I gotta know. You have a side-by-side comparison.
That's a tough one.
And if anyone wants to, and they are still listening at this point, because Greg had a pretty interesting story with his Buddhist experience and all that.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll get past all the the shit soup and penis drawings to get to that point.
It's funny when you should say that, because for a time I was so in the zone, if you will, of the Buddhist zone, and I was.
Right.
We just mustn't talk about negative things. This was
yeah.
me. I got so fucking chill at that time. But 2004, I don't think I had met you even at one of the Seidenstein's functions at that point, John. I don't know.
Probably not, honestly. But
oh no, I definitely didn't, because I didn't meet you until Family Guy came back on the air.
Wait a minute. Well, 2003, you claimed to be there when I brought the Weird Al Yankovic CD. So,
but I think back on it, and I think that was actually 2005.
Okay, but my story was not 2005. That was 2003. So that it couldn't have possibly been. Okay.
Maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyway, that will just about sum up this week's episode of Bullshit Hour. It has actually been quite some time since I just had a rampant Bullshit Hour, because the last couple episodes were comic book episodes. The one before that was about Beetlejuice. And yeah, so now we're actually getting back on track by derailing the train. So cool. Awesome. And thank you guys. Let's do some plugs. Greg?
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
You better be bringing up Star Trek. You better be bringing up Star Trek, or we're fighting next time I see you.
Well, I guess that's perfect. Yes, Star Trek, The Undiscovered Podcast. Check that out. I guess I'll just start with the podcast. MSV Podcast presents The Fake and the Whimsy. You can find those two podcasts, or you could find this podcast. I will spell my last name once. V as in Victor, O-R-O-B as in boy. Add me on Facebook. And unlike some of the guests in the past who have been on the show who say, add me on Facebook, and I do, and I've got 10 mutual friends with them because they're all connected through the John Seymour universe, but they deny me. Fuck you. Just want to say that. I'm just kidding. I don't really take it personally, but fuck you. But unlike them, I will add you. I will add you, unlike them who say, add me on Facebook. On Twitter at Greg_Vorob. And on YouTube at Greg Vorob. Check out my stuff there.
Cool. And Dave Aguilar.
So I can be found usually, wearing my furry costume as a panda bear, playing with my toes.
It's true.
But you can also find me on Instagram, where you can find me at basically just Dave. And that's not a description. The name is actually basically just Dave. You could also find me on Blogspot. So I do a little writing as a side project. Different from the chaos that usually runs through me verbally. What comes out of my pen is usually very depressing. Don't take it if you're seeking. Don't go there if you're seeking any major depressive treatment because, well, it's not going to help. But you can find me at Aries Desk. That's EYRIES, ariesdesk.blogspot.com. Check it out. I appreciate any feedback. You guys are always welcome. And on Facebook, Dave Aguilar. It's AGUILAR. Feel free to say hi.
And he is one of the people that adds you. I will say that from firsthand experience.
His profile picture is as a fist, cartoon fist in black and white. Yeah,
that's the Black Lives Matters fist, bro.
Yeah, there it is. Sorry, I muted myself in the middle of my sentence. I meant to say there it is. And it's silly that I just said that because I could have just edited it, but I'm going to leave this all in because fuck you.
It's natural. It's natural.
Yes. As for me, John Seymour on Facebook, JON space SEYMOUR. I am now sitting behind a drum set wearing a Mickey Mouse shirt, but I am not holding out 8 fingers this time. I'm just wearing a Mickey Mouse shirt. And other clothes, but that's the prominent one. Where else am I? As I said, email into the show, bshour6@gmail.com, bshour6@gmail.com. Listen to other episodes of Bullshit Hour and listen to the comic book diversion of the show because those are actually pretty cool. I have panelists Keith Bliss and Jason Gurin, who hopefully can maintain being on all or most of the episodes. And I'm going to start bringing on guests if you're interested in calling in and being on the show as a guest. See the Mad Tea Party acoustic show. That's in Pearl River at Pearl River Saloon on June 18th. That is Father's Day, but it's going to be at night. We're probably starting about 8 p.m. So, it's an acoustic show. It's not a full band show. We'll get into the band shows in a later episode. And you can find me also on Twitter, BS_Seymour, SEYMOUR, _, I'm sorry, fuck me. Okay. BS_our, HOUR, _Seymour. SEYMOUR. BS_our _Seymour. That is me on Twitter. If you are still listening to me chattering about where to find me on Twitter. And I do not have to plug Greg's Star Trek show because he plugged it himself and plugged it into himself as well. And
we should say we have shared listeners of this show and Star Trek show.
We have shared listeners. Yeah. And evidently, from what I understand, I am going to make my next appearance on that show. We're recording on June 19th. We're talking about The Wrath of Khan. So instead of just sitting and watching a 50-minute episode, I have to endure a 2-hour movie, and it's going to be great. It's going to be wonderful.
You won't be enduring it. You will be be enjoying the privilege of getting to watch it.
I'm sure.
And I know Kyle Bain is on that panel, so that's going to be a great
I will be with my friend Kyle Bain, who, hey Dave, welcome back. Who much to Greg's jealousy, I have met Kyle Bain in person at a hockey game in Philadelphia. But I'm not able to attend his fun barbecue. And I'll be editing that because I said that for no reason. So anyway.
In that case, you should leave it in. Just right there, because you just said it.
Yeah, well, there you go. All right,
okay.
Fine. All right. And I guess on that note, I will be saying goodnight to everyone. Dave, it's good to have you back in human form.
Thanks, pal.
And so good night to Dave Aguilar. Good night to Greg Vorob. Good night to everyone out there. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. And remember, it's Pride Month. Be a good gay ally if you aren't gay already.